Have you ever been so nervous that your mind completely shut down? Not just forgetting a passage, not just shaky hands. I mean completely blank. That happened to me during my second year at Juilliard. I was about to perform Chopin's Scherzo No. 4 at Performance Forum. It's a required performance class where all the piano majors gather to perform for one another, and faculty, students, and guests are all invited. And honestly, there is something uniquely terrifying about performing for other pianists because they understand everything, every note, every phrase, every mistake. I had only recently learned the piece, and it was my first public performance of it. I walked onto the stage, took a deep breath, and looked at the piano. The instrument that had been part of my life for as long as I could remember. But suddenly, it just felt so unfamiliar. The 88 keys, the keyboard looked so strange to me. My heart was pounding so loudly I could barely think. My cheek started twitching. My right leg was shaking uncontrollably on the pedal. I remember thinking, what is happening to me? I've done this so many times. And I really tried to calm myself down. I thought it's okay. Once you start playing, it will pass. But then something happened that had never happened before in my life. I couldn't find middle C. Middle C, the very note I later taught my 4-year-old son. And because I couldn't find it, I suddenly couldn't locate my starting note either. And in that moment, my brain completely froze. And for a split second, I honestly considered standing up and telling the audience I was too sick to perform. The silence felt endless, but I knew I had to start. So I took a leap of faith and played a note I hoped was correct, and it wasn't. It was an octave too low. I quickly adjusted and continued, but emotionally, I was crushed. And to this day, it remains one of the most humiliating and terrifying moments I've ever experienced on stage. But strangely enough, that experience taught me one of the most important lessons of my musical life. Preparing for a performance is not just about mastering the notes, it's about preparing your mind. Because stage fright is real, and learning how to manage it is part of becoming a musician. Over the years, I've developed a few strategies that helped me tremendously. First, identify what you're actually afraid of. Stage fright is different for everyone. Some fear judgment, others fear the physical symptoms like sweaty, shaky hands, dry mouth, rapid heartbeat. For me, the fear was always memory. Pianists are often expected to perform massive amounts of music completely from memory. Not just notes, but dynamics, phrasing, structure, interpretation, tempo changes, everything. And I used to wonder, can my brain really hold all of this under pressure? Second, do not rely only on finger muscle memory. When I was younger, I memorized quickly, simply through repetition. My fingers learned where to go. But under pressure, finger memory alone can collapse. And when it does, you realize something terrifying. Your fingers knew the piece better than your mind did. Real security comes from mental understanding, harmony, structure, patterns, musical direction, not just repetition. Third, make your left hand rock solid. Over time, I noticed that almost every memory slip I experienced began in the left hand. So before performances, I make sure I can play the entire left hand part alone, musically and confidently from memory. And it's surprisingly very difficult, but it gives me an anchor when nerves hit. Fourth, use what I call the quote-unquote puzzle method. This is time-consuming, but incredibly effective. Photocopy your score, cut it into small sections, shuffle them, then randomly choose one section and try to continue forward and backward from memory. It forces your brain to really understand the musical structure instead of just in sequence. And finally, rehearse the entire performance day. Not just the music, the whole day. Wake up, breakfast, prayer, warm up, walk onto the stage, sitting at the bench. I mentally rehearse the experience itself over and over because familiarity reduces fear. You begin practicing how to be nervous, and eventually the nerves stop feeling like an enemy. They become something familiar that you know how to carry. Even now, after many years of performing, I still get nervous before concerts. That never completely disappears. But now I understand something I didn't know as a young student. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's preparation in the presence of fear. And when moments of panic come, I remind myself, it is not about being fearless. It's about being ready. Thank you so much for listening.